Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And this is episode 51.
51.
The first episode of the new year.
Of year one.
Yep.
Yes.
Because
the show is now 1 year old.
Yep. Last year was year zero, just like there was an episode 0.
Yes.
So now this is year 1.
I mean, that's how babies are. Like, you don't start saying a baby's 1 year old until it has been at least a year old.
We're barely 12 months old.
We are barely 12 months old.
Yep.
Yes.
It's in its 0th.
We are still
decade.
we are still screaming and shitting our pants.
I mean, that's beside the point.
Yeah, that's basically what we do before we hit record, screaming.
Get that out of the way.
Babies do that until like 12 months, right?
Sure. I don't know.
Babies scream for a while.
Yeah.
My experience with babies is almost non-existent.
So
they
existent.
exist, and sometimes friends want to be like, hey, you want to hold my baby? And I'm like, I'm good.
Ditto.
Not that I have a problem with your baby specifically.
Seems
it's
like
just
it.
babies in general.
Yeah. Agreed. Anyway, how's Murder Island going?
It's going well.
Yeah. We haven't gotten any chicken dinners. We got a 2.
And the only people that were left were that team. There were 4 people left when I died.
Was there 4? I
Yes.
thought it was...
Or it might have been 3. I was number 4.
I thought it was like the last guy got you.
No.
I thought it was one-on-one.
I don't know. I remember 3 guys ambushed my other team, and I was able to kill them all. And then I brought them back up. It was great.
Yeah, it was awesome. So we're camping out. The circle didn't screw us over, and in this ancient ruins castle-y kind of area, and multiple people were running by, and we just weren't shooting because we were well hidden because they were all just running east. We ended up being on the far west side of the circle, and then inevitably had to run east. But finally, one group of 4 came around a corner to try and take our spot, thinking it was a good spot, and I micro Uzi'd the shit out of like 3 people, which was awesome. Because that gun sucks.
Yeah, unless you're right in front of them. But before that, when the circle was closing in, a guy jumped over us.
Yeah.
And we were just like, I was getting ready to shoot, and he's just like, wait, I don't think he saw us.
Yeah, multiple guys had come around a corner, and I just like full auto, extended quick draw, magazined many magazines of micro Uzi 9mm bullets.
Yep.
So is there like a radar or something to show you like where other people are
Absolutely
shooting?
not.
Oh, no, not at all.
There is a map that shows you where like the circle is, and then the blue barrier that hurts you, and then where the new circle is that you have to get into.
So like the guy who jumped over you, like why not just shoot him in the back and kill him?
Because you make sound.
Yes. Yeah, you make sound, and then people will be like, oh, there's people shooting over there. Let's go kill them.
Let's just whip 12 grenades in that direction.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
If grenades started getting thrown in where we were, that would have sucked.
Yep, totally dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we downed 3 of them, and then they downed 3 of us, and then Zach was able to kill the last guy. But once your entire squad gets downed, they're all just automatically dead.
Yep.
There's no like res chance or crawling around or anything.
Yeah, I ended up getting 3 kills off of that,
Yeah.
which was nice.
So like how long does a match of this typically take?
20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Well, 5 seconds also, because if you...
If you land next to someone and they punch you in the head.
Yeah. Or like your friend, someone got down before him, and so he flew down, and then basically a guy turned a corner with a shotgun and just shot him in the
boom,
face, and he's
boom.
dead.
So like it sounds to me like this game is like if it's like 20 to 30 minutes for a round, assuming it's a round where you make it towards most of the end, it
Yeah.
sounds to me like it's like 20 minutes of hiding followed by like 5 minutes of really intense gun battle.
Yeah.
And then
But it
Depends on where you are.
Yes, because if you land with other people, it's like I've got to murder a bunch of people now. Like when we landed at the that city, I don't remember which one it was.
The east of the military base.
Yeah, we came down and we saw like 20 other parachutes open up, and we're like,
Yes.
shit's about to happen.
You start with like 100 people.
Yeah.
So, and that was
Right.
the first city to like anyone could drop on. So like a ton of people dumped. Yeah, it depends on if you survive and where the circle is and how far you have to travel because there are vehicles. And if you're just lucky to be in the circle, you can just sort of sit there. But you do have to travel between cities to try and get more medical supplies and loot and bullets and attachments and.
Well, and then it's also, I mean, it is a lot of waiting too, but like tense waiting, because you're just always want to keep an eye out, because if someone sneaks up on you,
You're toast.
you're toast. So
Or like you can go for the airdrops that are basically death traps, but have the best items.
because it's just the thing that parachutes down in the middle of the field usually,
drops
and
off
then
cargo
there's some
crate.
smoke there, and you're like, oh, I should go check it out. But also like 10 other people are like, oh, I saw that crate go there. Let me go look over there. Oh, there's people looting that. Let me just pull out my gun and shoot them to death.
Yeah. because the crates are just airdrop and just land in the middle of a field.
Yep.
Sounds basically like in the Hunger Games movies, like when they released like, the big new stockpile, and it just turned into a second bloodbath.
Yep.
So initial bloodbath, second bloodbath, and then final bloodbath.
Yeah, the initial bloodbath depends on where you land because it's a massive island that you can kind of land pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, there have been times when like Jeff and I have made it to the final 10 and we didn't kill anybody just because like that's just how it
We've
worked
avoided.
out. Yeah, we avoided people because a lot of times it's like you see somebody going there, but then you see somebody else shoot them. And it's like you don't want to alert other people to your position because if you have a good hiding spot, then it's
worth it.
It's worth it a lot of times.
Let other people kill each other before you have to kill people.
But then other times it was me, Bob, and Jeff, and we killed 9 people total.
Yeah.
Basically, a tenth of everybody that was there was murdered by us.
I think I got 7 kills on that round too. Yeah.
Sounds exciting.
It is. Yeah.
And the circle moves it's 5 minutes and then like 4.5 and then like 2.5 and then 2 and then it's just a blue barrier that kind of slowly moves in. And so it has to go pretty. There is a limit to how long the match can go, or the circle's going to get so small.
And then it gets so small, then you're there's a lot of prone, crawling and stuff.
Crawling.
Like that, 'cause you don't want to be seen, especially if there's like you have to move it to a field. You're like son of a bitch.
Yep.
So just hope nobody sees me.
Because at that point, other people have murdered each other where they've gotten their loot and like have sniper rifles and big scopes and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well then.
And then you have to be in the circle because the barrier hurts a lot as it gets later.
I know that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, that was exciting.
Yeah.
No number ones.
Not yet. No.
No.
Well, not recently, but yeah.
Some number twos.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe better luck next time.
Probably tonight after we record.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah. Not yet. You'll get converted.
We converted one person already.
Yep.
So and hopefully more.
Yes.
Who are listening to this?
As we said, resistance is futile.
Yeah.
No, because the exact same thing happened with Overwatch. I was pressured into getting it.
Yeah, I want to continue playing this game, so don't buy it, Adrian.
Yeah, and then I bought Overwatch, and everyone stopped fucking playing it.
I mean, like, Dan and them still play a little
Yeah.
bit, I think.
Not on any kind of consistent schedule that works
Overwatch
for me.
is still good,
Yeah.
but Murder Island's real
Debatable.
good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a different style of game.
It is.
That's good. But, all right, well, moving on from our now weekly Murder Island update.
Pretty much.
Yes. Yes.
That one could also technically be called Bloody Minute, but
So continuing our new little mini segment that was suggested by one of the listeners during the anniversary episode. I think it was Mike. Pretty sure it was Mike. He wanted to know what beers we drink. So what are we drinking today, Jeff?
We are drinking a Stone and Joy by July 4th, 2017, unfiltered IPA.
It is quite tasty.
We were going to drink it last week, but Adrian shook it up. And
I did not. He got
Screwed it up.
shooken up on the drive over here or something. I don't know. But yeah, so we let it settle out a bit and cracked it open.
Indeed. It's still real good.
It is very tasty. Besides that, I have lined up after this is done because we're splitting a bomber between Jeff and I, so there's not a lot to go around. After that, I'm going to be drinking, I believe...
Did you bring a cooler in here?
Yes, I did. I'm going to be drinking Crazy Mountain's Hooky Bob IPA, which has a ridiculous like moose with elk antlers on it, because that's kind of like what Crazy Mountain does. All their labels have really weird, bizarre mashup animals.
Jackalobes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's my beer on deck.
All right.
And then there's a couple other things in that little cooler. We moved our studio, and so now it's harder. I can't just lean over from my chair to the fridge to get more beer. I'd actually have to get up, leave the room. Like it's more of a. So I grabbed a little lunch cooler,
Yeah.
and filled it with beer.
We're not in a kitchen anymore.
No.
But there is a mattress up against the wall.
Ruining the magic.
Yep. It's just really big, baffling.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm drinking.
Yes.
so both of you drinking.
Yep.
Yes.
And I'm sure I'll drink whatever's in that cooler after this one.
Yeah, I don't know what Jeff's on deck beer is. It's
We'll
a
find out.
mystery
I
what
didn't even know
threw
there
in
was a
the
cooler there because it's behind you and it was hiding.
Yes, it has an ice pack, so the
It's
beer's
also
staying
blue
cold.
too, which matches this shirt.
Indeed. Colorado blue.
Yep.
Yes, but all right. Well, so we've covered what we're drinking and what you guys have been mostly playing.
Murdering.
What kind of time have you been able to make for board games? Any?
Just basically game night.
More or less, yeah.
Slackers.
Yeah, pretty much.
I didn't win Skull, but it was close. Everyone had 1 point.
And
Then Paul won.
Yeah, Paul and I both had 1 flower left, and you and Wesley,
Wes.
had 1 flower and 1 skull left.
Then Adrian was out.
Yep.
Yep. I got down to my last skull and I would have been found out the round before, but I think it was you, Jeff. You went in a completely opposite direction. You're like, oh, I'm going to flip Wesley's first. And it was a skull. And you're like, oh, fuck. And Zach was like, what are you doing? You let Adrian be in for another round.
Because it was only 3, and if Wes didn't have a skull, then I would have been like, boom, done. Because I knew I had a flower. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, either way, it was dependent on Adrian.
Yeah.
So you might as well have gotten that out of the way first. Because you could have eliminated him.
It's fine.
I agree with Zach's logic, but I'm glad you played it the way you did, because then I basically got to steal an extra tile.
Yes.
I don't know. I played Tiny Epic Galaxies, which we'll talk about later.
Next time.
Yep. That was all I played at game night, was Skull and that.
Yeah.
Low-key game night. They have been lately.
Yeah. I finally got, the first game I played on Wednesday was Honshu again. But I finally got to play with 5 players, and that is definitely best at 5 players. Because with that many cards out, the chances of there being a card that might be better for you increases significantly. So there was a lot more, oh, Jeff, your card is nice. I'm just going to take yours.
Yeah, it was a lot of taking your own card.
Yeah. Or no, it was
Before.
Yes, it was a lot of taking your own card before. This one, there was a decent amount of, ooh, yours actually looks better. Thank you. Yeah.
More options.
Yes. Yeah. Otherwise, pretty much, yeah, just Skull and Tiny Epic for me.
I played Hero Realms, which I hadn't played in a little while, with Paul, who had never played a Realms game, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah, so I taught him how to play. He liked it. He won.
God damn it, of course he did.
What was he?
I think he was the Ranger, and I was the Rogue.
That's right.
Yep.
I still feel like the Warrior is the best one out of those.
Fighter.
Yeah.
Does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I did also take the promo hero cards out.
Oh, okay.
So they were just the starting, I think it's 11 in the base set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. I've only played Hero Realms once, but I really liked it. I enjoy Star Realms a whole lot.
Yes.
It's a good app.
Yeah.
I like Hero Realms a lot, and I like Hero Realms a lot better with the classes.
Yes, very much so.
And then I went by a Games Workshop store in Boulder and looked at the new Warhammer 40,000 8th edition, and I'm going to throw away that 10-year chip right in the garbage pretty soon. It's getting close. I flipped through the new rule book and all the indexes. They were completely sold out of all the new rule books. It only had come out the day before.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was super popular. They still had some of the starter sets left, about $160 for the starter set. But you get the rule book and a ton of miniatures. Like, their starter sets are usually pretty good deals. I started with the 3rd edition starter set, which was Dark Eldar and Space Marines, and like basically everyone always gave away their Dark Eldar for free because Dark Eldar really sucked in 3rd edition for a while. But yeah, I think I have to coordinate with CJ to see if he can go to my dad's place and look through all my GW stuff and bring it to Gencon with him. Because we're not going to swing back through Chicago like we did last year. So I either have to fly out and organize it all so he can bring it in a reasonable enough space to fit into a van, because I have a lot, and then bring it all out here because new 40K looks real good.
No, can you use a lot of your old models?
I can use all my old models.
Okay, sweet.
That's good.
Yep. There's a billion new ones and new units and new weapons and all that stuff, but there's no reason I couldn't use, I think, almost 100% of everything I used to have.
Now, do they typically like update old units to where they're actually still competitive and useful? Or?
Usually they'll just do point changes, make them cheaper, make them more expensive, balance stuff.
Okay.
But like a basic guardsman, 6 points or whatever is going to have a last gun and 3 strength and 3 toughness no matter what. So they'll add new stuff that's really cool and overpowered, but I don't really have any of that.
Okay.
That's kind of where all the additions between like 5th and 7th went. It was like, here's flyers, here's a $120 miniature that's really powerful, give us $120 and you can destroy everyone else in these games, which kind of sucks, but the new rule set's real good.
Okay.
It goes back to 2nd edition modifiers and D3 wounds and all the stuff I loved about fantasy is kind of what 40K is now, except the wheeling and blocks of dudes with swords.
Gotcha.
Chain swords, but swords nonetheless.
Okay.
Yeah, 40K.
Cool. Zach, did you do any other gaming?
Yesterday, you and I played Tramways again.
Yep, with Paul and Kaiser.
Yeah. I saw your new maps for the Kickstarter that you had. One of them looked really nice.
The Paris one looks really nice. The New York one, the graphic design on it, art design is not super amazing, especially compared to the Paris side. I'm still interested to try it. They both offer some new mechanics. Same with like the Denver map. Just kind of a weird twist on playing.
Right.
But I feel like I haven't even like begun to dive into that game. like you can do drafting of the tiles to like, so you get to choose how to place them. So there can be like a big hole. Like you could do like the 8, like we played with the 8 tiles and we did them in like a 2x4 grid. You could do it like in 3 rows of 3, but with that center one missing.
Right.
Like there's all kinds of crazy shit you can do that sounds awesome and intriguing, and I want to. So hopefully get a lot more play out of Tramways.
I'm sure you will.
Yes.
You love that game.
I do love that game. The only thing that'll hold me back is, aside from Paul, I don't know if anyone in my immediate group super loves that game. And I'm not even sure Paul really loves Tramways.
Well, so there's one thing you can do where how the turn that turn structure works, where you get all your points for however long your trip is, and then you do whatever the location does, and then you have to pay. Then you pay money and get money. But because how the luxury or the leisure one works, you can technically dump all of your money in that to get extra points, and then be like, oh, I don't have money to pay all of you. So you can do a really long, circuitous route to get a lot of points, but you would technically have to pay people a bunch of money. But because you don't, you just take one stress, and then that's it. I think.
Yeah, but unless your like stress is already incredibly low levels, like I mean, it goes from like 8 to 15. That's like 7 points, which is way more. Like I even calculated like on mine, it would have made more sense for me to take less money through luxury and actually pay people rather than take that stress. So I think.
But then if you have a card that lets you reduce stress, or you just go to residence once, you can reduce. Like I think there needs to be. I definitely agree with Paul that there needs to be a sharper punishment for that, because if you do keep your stress somewhat low, then it's just one. It's I don't know. It just feels. I feel like you should have to pay your money first before doing the leisure thing. That's the only thing. I think you should have to pay your money before you do whatever the action is.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't really. I guess I'd be curious. Maybe I'll do an interview with Alban Viard someday and ask him, why do you do it in that order? Mm-hmm. Why not pay money first? But I don't know. Maybe he intentionally wants it that way. Maybe he wants that to be like an interesting strategy where is it worth taking? Because I mean, like I said, like typically like one stress is usually like, unless you're very early on, it's like 3 or 4 points. Like, and the way that scale works on the luxury building, the leisure buildings, you know, it actually taking one stress, you're going to be losing more points than you're gaining by not paying.
I mean,
in most situations.
At the end, you guys were getting 8 or 9 points each time you did it. And then, especially like on him, he was hovering around 3 to 5 the entire time on that stress.
Yeah, Paul was but I mean, still, like the stress he took for not paying was like a 3-point stress. He would have been better off knocking down the next tier on paying and paying everybody and not losing 3 stress, but getting one less point. No,
because on that one where you would have gotten 20 money, which that would have been.
Well, then I could have turned around and exactly. I mean, like,
yeah,
I don't know. It is what it is. I haven't noticed it really be a problem in games that I've played of it.
Right.
So this is the closest that I've seen to somebody like being egregious with it, and it was because we only had one leisure building on the map, and it was at the complete opposite corner. Like there was a really incredibly long circuitous route.
Yeah,
there.
well, you could go all the way. You could start from one end of the map and go all the way to the other end. So
you could start almost adjacent to it and loop all the way around all 8 boards. Like Paul actually hit something on all 8 boards on that one pathway. But I don't know. It was a very frustrating game for me, especially early on. I kept feeling quite thwarted, and my anger beast kind of
it did
riled up a little bit.
Yeah,
It was hard to slap giant rocks on the ground.
I did not jump up and try and slap the ground. I
probably would have hurt.
Yeah,
stayed away from that. That one wasn't an anger one. That one when I was just being the floor slapping incident way back was I was being ridiculous intentionally.
I feel like you're just trying to save face.
Whatever. Anyway, I also got to play Kanban on Friday with Paul and Wesley.
Okay.
We were going to play Indonesia, but Jeff ended up having more issues with water in his basement and then worked extra hours.
You mean my basement apartment?
Yes. In his apartment.
Yes. That is in a basement.
And so we ended up only having 3 people for Indonesia, which Indonesia takes longer the less players you have. It's kind of a weird way that works, but we decided we didn't want to play a really long game of Indonesia, so we decided to learn Kanban, which ended up probably being as long as Indonesia would have.
Probably, yeah. It is a
Lusarda
game, so.
Initially, Paul was not super enjoying it. Mm-hmm. He had a lot of complaints about it, and even Wesley seemed not super impressed. I was loving it because I love pretty much everything Lusarda does right now.
You love Misery, too.
I don't find any of his games particularly misery.
No.
inducing.
I mean, you said this one was you were playing with me and Sandra, right?
Yes.
Well, okay. It sounded like the way you're describing it that it, especially near the end for Wesley, just kept fucking him over.
Well, so like that was an interesting thing with Wes's like game strategy. Like early on, like if you advance quick enough along, like you can basically either avoid her by meeting whatever her requirement is for whatever department she's going to be in, or like the penalty is always lose the difference from whatever you have banked in the time like bank like to 5, like for every shift less than 5 that you have, if that makes sense. Like if you have 3 shifts banked,
okay,
you lose 2 points,
okay,
because you're 2 less than 5. And so like it's not very hard early on to just bank up to like 5 or 6 extra shifts, so that then the penalties don't apply to you anymore. And like we all kind of like, I did a really good job of avoiding her penalties early, and then Paul kind of caught on, and like Wes seemed like he was moving away, but then at some point it seemed like he was like, it's not worth focusing on, and then decided to just eat the penalties, which like they can really, really add up. Like, I mean, you can, if you don't have any time banked, which a couple times he didn't, you're losing 5 points, and like.
What was the final score?
The final score was, I want to say like 80 to 50 to like 30.
Okay.
Something like that. Like Paul won pretty substantially.
Shocking.
Considering how much he was grumbling and how much
he pulled an Adrian.
He pulled an Adrian, which is really rapidly becoming a Paul.
Yeah.
And Adrian is going to be, I don't know, what did we decide the other Adrian move was?
Taking forever on your turn.
No,
whatever.
Convincing the table to let you do something.
To redo it, and then being like, oh, wait, no, I should have done it the other way first.
Yeah, and we're just like, fuck you, no.
That's an Adrian. I do think it's funny that Paul and my initials are A and P. It's very fitting. But yeah, that was what I played. Tramways, Kanban, and then a little bit of stuff at game night. Kind of a low-key week for me as well. Is there anything you guys are looking forward to playing?
Maybe Forbidden Stars here in the coming weeks, finally. That 40K game.
Oh, yeah.
Heavy Cardboard's going to be doing a live stream of that sometime, I believe. I think he said by the end of June.
Huh,
So,
interesting.
Well, he has 11 days.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I think I'm supposed to be getting my Champions of Midgard within the next month.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that one.
So I was way off on the scores. It's 154, 133, 85.
Okay, well, 5 points doesn't seem as bad there.
No.
So.
But, I mean, when it happens on consecutive turns, it can rapidly add up to 20 points.
No, you're true. I was just curious if it happening to you once was like, oh, this is bad, or if it's like you can sort of eat it for a round or two.
I was amazed. Paul went negative at by the 3rd or 4th round. Paul actually hit -1 on the score track, which you start at 15, and he still managed to come back and win, which is pretty impressive. I still think overall, Wes lost more points over the course of the game than Paul did, but Paul lost a bunch early.
Gotcha. I hope they do a second edition for that, because that board just...
They're going to. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
The board that is a busy
It's
board.
very cluttered.
Yeah.
And there's a few areas where graphic design could be a lot better. That was one of Wes's big problems. Like when we were talking about it after the play, he's like, because this is this symbol, and this is this symbol, and this is this slightly different symbol that can sometimes mean one or the other. And he's like, it's very confusing.
Yeah.
And I think especially for a new player, I could see that. Like once you kind of know how things work, then you can see like, oh, it actually makes sense how these all relate symbology wise. But yes. I really want to see an Ian O'Toole Eagle Griffin Games version of it. I don't know if that'll happen, but that would be amazing. All right. Well, that pretty much catches us up on what we've been up to.
Indeed.
So I think we can move on to some news and Kickstarters, another timely information.
Please, God, let's move on from heavy games.
Yes. Did anything happen Blood Bowl wise?
No, I was on my bye week, so
Okay.
I'm playing David Wednesday at game night
Okay.
against the Nurgle Chaos Warriors.
Right on. Well, here we go.
On to news and Kickstarter, starting with news. Starting with, there's some Gencon lists out there. What's going to be there?
Yep.
I just have a quick rundown of stuff I'm excited for to see if I can see at Gencon. Flip ships, Raiders of the North Sea, the Splendor expansions, Z-Apocalypse 2, which probably no one's heard of, but I kickstarted the Z-Apocalypse 1, and I had no idea there was a Z-Apocalypse 2. Wasteland Express Delivery Service, which is from the people that did Dinosaur Island, which will also be there. Cry Havoc expansion, First Martians, which just got some previews and first impressions out of Origins.
Are you going to have your copy before?
I think it's at the end of June now.
Okay.
So, or maybe July?
Okay.
Soon, in the next month. Fingers crossed. Founders of Gloomhaven is supposed to be there. Sagrada, which I will probably buy. Attempt to buy. The Networks expansion, Executives. That's it.
Somebody was telling me something about Founders of Gloomhaven.
Well, so I was saying that Rado thinks it's Isaac Childress Does Splatter, which has me super excited. And Edward and Amanda said they got to check it out at Origins, and they were big fans of it. So I'm super excited.
That's the heavy cardboard people, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Slightly less excited now.
Sorry, buddy. But that's okay. My massive peak in excitement for Founders of Gloomhaven probably makes up for your slight decrease in excitement for it. So flip ships, I know people were talking about on the Punchboard Media Slack from Origins. It's supposed to be pretty cool. And one of the games that I'm kind of interested in, this is one, like, for as much as I'm all like, yo, heavy games, I love heavy games, this is a game I really, really like, and I don't get to play it nearly enough. But the Sheriff of Nottingham Merry Men expansion is going to be at Gen Con. And some of the modules it adds sound really interesting. So like one of them is you can play with deputies. So instead of one sheriff, there's two deputies, and they have to agree, or they can agree to either search or let a good pass, and they share rewards and penalties together. Or if one of them's like, no, like this one's not passing, and the other guy's like, I think it's good, and the one opens it, then he has to like take all the penalty.
Yeah, I really like that idea.
Nice.
And then it adds some new contraband cards in the form of Merry Men. And so, like, if you sneak them through, you immediately reveal it, and, like, they have special actions. And then there's a black market where, like, it is, I think, going to be, like, a card. Like, there'll be a bunch of different ones, but at the start of the game, you reveal one black market card. And the first person, it's going to have, like, 3 goods on it. And the first time you smuggle through one of those contraband, you can be like, oop, I got that one. And oop, I got that one. And it's, like, the first person to do them, you get extra goods and bonuses.
I want to play that game some more. I
like it.
Yeah. It was a real annoying for me because we played my copy so much, and then I got some promos, and those cards they were pretty worn compared to the promo ones.
I see.
Just like, I don't really want to spend money to
sleeve
it.
Yeah.
But I do really like that game, and I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
And the Cities of Splendor expansion too.
Also, I am interested in from Capstone Games, which they're like really kind of kicking ass in the heavy games department, like especially like bringing old ones that have been kind of out of print and stuff back. Like they just handled a reprint of Lignum, which was a really cool game about logging in Germany. They are doing The Ruhr, A Story of Coal Trade, which I've talked about before.
The what?
The Ruhr.
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 Oh, right, yeah.
And it's an updated version of Rushafart.
That's right, yeah.
Yes. So I'm pretty excited for that. Yeah, otherwise, like Cephalofares, Founders of Gloomhaven that we already mentioned, some stuff like that.
Also, what was it called? Custom Heroes, which is AEG's basically second game that uses the card crafting system.
Yeah, I didn't super care for some of the art design for this one. It kind of turned me off from the start, but I am interested to see what they can do with that card crafting.
I'm mainly interested to see what other things they could do besides, because I don't think it's a deck builder like
that'll be interesting.
Like Mystic Vale. So I'm curious to see what they're doing.
Cool. So there is a huge geek list though that has gone up that has things sorted by publisher, like what games are going to be having and featuring at Gen Con.
And
so
just more stuff is going to be added every day until Gen Con.
Yeah, I'm sure Fantasy Flight's going to have more than Legend of the Five Rings LCG. So.
Probably.
Yes.
I think when they open this up, there's like 100, or I don't even know how many there are, but I know last year's and the years before that, and then the 500s. So
yeah.
Did you, Jeff, happen to see that Everything Epic Games is bringing Big Trouble in Little China, the game?
I did. I saw the pre-order for that. CJ, I think, has already pre-ordered it.
Cool.
I'm wary. It might not be good.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
Yeah. The deluxe edition looks real cool, but for $100?
Yep. Yeah. And earlier when we were looking these up, I mentioned to Jeff, I was like, look, there's also Legendary Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
And I'm like, Legendary Encounters Buffy?
And I go, no.
Fuck that.
Yep. There's a game called Hot Shots, and it's about like wildfire fighting. And I don't have anything to say about this game other than the fact that like when I see Hot Shots, I immediately think of that old
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen movie, Hot Shots Part Deux.
Yeah.
Like when I saw that, I was like, "Holy shit! They're making a Hot Shots movie or game." And I went, "Oh, it's just about fighting wildfires."
It looks pretty cool though. I watched some playthroughs of it, and it seemed interesting enough.
Yeah, I mean, it might be. Some co-op games are pretty cool.
A lot of co-op games.
A lot of co-op games are really cool, to be honest. And there's also a decent chance that Gilhova might have more information on the Networks expansion, which will be pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, Gen Con. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it.
Next.
I'll buy my ticket.
Yep.
Yeah, you really.
You should probably do that
Yep.
soon.
Jeff and I already have. So, what's the
You
date?
did it today,
Yeah.
Zach.
July 2nd.
July 2nd is when the price increases by $30.
$30.
So
I'll do it before then.
Good.
you say that.
I'm doing it Wednesday when I get paid.
You say that.
I do?
Yeah.
Yes, that is a thing that I say. What's up next, Zach or Jeff?
Up next, Pandemic Legacy Season 2 has a website and some little juicy details. Some more about what the overall story is. I'm not sure how spoilery we want to get in here of Season 1, but the setup for Season 2 is 71 years later on Season 1. There's a bunch of floating cities that humanity has been keeping supplied from the mainland. And then a lot of those cities have gone dark, and then you and your crew have to go out and find out what happened to these cities.
Yeah.
It seems like it's definitely departing from basic Pandemic.
It looks very different.
Yes, so I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, I mean, they still have epidemics. They still have cities, like cards and epidemic cards. Some of the item cards look kind of interesting, like rationed event.
I like the icon style too,
Yes.
and the card art and stuff like that. So
yeah, the art style looks pretty great. Like all of the city's leaders have disappeared after their yearly summit. That's what
it was. Yeah.
So a while back when we were doing our pandemic spoiler episode, I was like, what's the like line on being able to talk about one of the major kind of twists of season 1? And he basically mentions like you can say that one of the viruses kind of becomes this like advanced like rabies type virus. I'm sure that you can use your imagination and think of what other things in pop culture have something along those lines.
Objection. I want to say that's leading the witness.
And so, well, so that's one of my favorite kind of like, so that really helped like pandemic, season 1, legacy season 1, like stick for me. And then now like post-apocalyptic wasteland, like venturing out to explore, like as things are like continuing to go bad. That's like another theme that just, man, they are direct firing these into my like themes that I love.
I love post-apocalypse stuff. That's why that Wasteland Express delivery service looks real cool.
Yeah.
And this art style really, I think, fits the kind of post-apocalyptic vibe they're going for. And yeah, it's got me pretty excited.
Yeah, for sure.
Next up.
Next up is the Origin Awards. Origin was just this last week. We have some pretty basic winners that are options. Scythe won Game of the Year.
Yes, it did.
Also, Board Game of the Year. Mystic Vale won Card Game of the Year, which I totally agree with.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Happy Salmon won Family Game of the Year.
Have you played that before?
I have. We played that with Jared.
Okay, yes.
I've heard that's a bunch of fun.
It actually is.
It's real quick and dumb and fun.
Yeah, and it's hilarious just to watch other people play it.
Yeah.
Pokemon was Collectible of the Year.
Okay.
The Blood Rage Organizer was Best Accessory of the Year.
I have that. It's a great...
And I could agree. Like
Yeah.
the way it keeps the minis like from
By the
bouncing
base.
around. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Real quick, at Origins, First Martians got some first impressions. People have talked about the differences in it and how the app works and stuff like that. The app's going to have like the event deck like Robinson Crusoe did, so you don't have to cover up the bottom of the event to not know, like get surprised by it. And then the stress, there's a stress mechanic in there. Instead of being attacked by space tigers, you will like... random things will happen that just kind of like turn the lights off in the med bay and things like that. So
I really hope that's like a promo card or something.
a space tiger.
You don't know why, you don't know how, but a tiger is attacking you.
Yeah, it looks good. Everyone I think that has played the demos and stuff at Origins has said it's pretty great.
I know I'm super excited for it.
I am too.
hopefully in the next month I have my pre-order.
Mine too.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot you got it too.
Yeah. I don't know why. I didn't really need to with you having a copy.
Yeah. That's why as much as I love Terraforming Mars, I don't have a copy because literally the people I play with it most, 4 of those people will have a copy of it.
First mention.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Hefe, what's next?
After that, Mystic Vale, that Origin card game of the year,
Yes.
is getting a new expansion.
It's the 3rd expansion now, right?
Correct.
I believe so. It's going to add leaders that you can card craft that will give them different abilities and unlock abilities, as well as amulets, which you can card craft to that will have extra abilities and things like that.
So which Veil is this one now? Because we had the Veil of Magic and then the Veil.
It is
of
not a veil.
Shocking.
It's Mana Storm.
I'm glad they finally got past that.
Yes. Yeah, because they had Veil of Magic was the first
It's
one.
still the worst name I've ever heard.
Yes,
for
Mystic Veil, Veil of Magic.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what they were going for there, like MVVM, but no.
No.
I still only have the first expansion. For as much as I like this game, it doesn't get played anywhere near enough, and so I just
Because I don't own it and don't bring it to every game night because I don't own it.
I mean, I've brought it to several game nights for a long time, and nobody played it.
Andrew played it a little while ago.
Yes, he did.
So.
I actually just bought promos to it, even though I don't own the game.
I'm going to get some promos. I filled out like a survey for AEG, and they're going to
Nice.
send me some promos.
You should
They just
get
asked
the
me for my email
second
now.
expansion, and then we'll play it.
Oh, okay.
As Zach
Yes.
winks.
I'll just go spend money.
Yes.
But yeah, so that is coming up.
Yeah. Next up, Geekchic, proprietor of fancy board game tables, it has closed its doors.
And they were the first one on.
They were really pretty much the first one, and I still maintain like so I've seen a handful of different board game tables like in person. The most recent one is Edward and Amanda up at Heavy Cardboard just got their boardgametables.com board game table.
Yeah.
Wow, that gets wordy. And it's real nice.
They got their board game table from boardgametables.com.
Yes.
Emails at
Yes. And it's real nice, don't get me wrong, but like every year at Gen Con, like one of my favorite things to do was to go over and drool over all of the completely unaffordable pieces of amazing furniture that Geekchic did.
Yes. They did look really nice, but you had
Yeah,
to pay for it.
I priced out like my ideal one, and it was going to be like almost $10,000.
Exactly.
And it was like, God, I can't. Like, I can't justify that. I could buy like multiple cars
Yeah.
for that price. Like when you start getting into that amount of money, I start to measure it. And how many cars could I own?
Yeah, it's like, for me, like spending more than $200 for a table, I'm like, that's a lot of money for a table.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm really stoked about the $50 table I just bought. I'm like, hell yeah. That being said, I mean, they were great tables. Like they were seriously, like they marketed them as heirloom tables, and they were like, this is something you could have handed down for generations. And I'm not sure that's going to be the case with some of these other less expensive models, as nice as they may be. I don't feel like some of their quality is quite up to what Geekchic was doing.
But they're a lot more affordable.
They're more affordable, and I think there were some other issues kind of going on. I'm not going to speculate on rumors that I've heard because I certainly have no idea. But I've heard there were other things kind of going on.
I feel
there.
fine speculating, but ghosts, I think that's what brought them down.
Yes, they were running around haunting the warehouse. They really just should have brought in some scrappy kids and a big dog and found out that it was old Mr. Jenkins.
They used
all
wood
along.
from a haunted forest.
Yes.
And ghosts possess the wood that were used in the tables.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. We solved the mystery.
Yep. Scooby-Doo was involved.
Apparently, the first Scooby-Doo movie had a rated R cut.
What?
Really?
Yeah. It was by James Gunn, too, by the way.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
it was.
What?
Yes.
That's why a lot of people think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the part where they go through like 500 warps or whatever and their faces go all crazy,
Yeah.
is an homage to like the crazy faces they make in Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Oh, I can see that, I guess.
Yeah.
Huh. But yeah,
Now,
so
now you can say you learned something today.
surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Toxic Avenger is amazing. That's James Gunn.
That's also James Gunn?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
He's just getting his mind blown with
Yes, he
learning.
is.
Oh, dear. Quick, before I die, what's the next piece of news?
The last piece of news is the Kinderspiel award has been announced, and the award winner is Ice Cool.
Hooray. I was
Yeah.
hoping that was the one that was going to win.
Super deserving. Really fun game. I like dexterity games, and this is a fun dexterity game.
So when
My fingers hurt because I
Yes.
flick those things too hard.
Right?
But
Yes.
When is the other
July
one?
17th.
July 17th, and that's the kid one and the regular one, right? Or did the kid one already get announced?
No, this was the kid
Oh,
one.
sorry.
This was Kinderspiel. So Spiel DR and Kennerspiel, which is enthusiast game
That's
of the
okay.
year.
That's what it was. Yeah, sorry.
So game of the year and enthusiast game of
Yep.
the year will both be announced, and I'm expecting Terraforming Mars, and I have no idea what Spiel DR is going to be out of the 3 that are available.
Was King Domino one of those, or
Yes.
was that part of this?
No, King Domino, I'm pretty sure is part of
thought it was
Spiel.
Kinder.
I don't know. We talked about it on a previous episode, but I have since forgotten.
understandable.
We just don't listen to us, so
We do not.
it makes it really hard when editing when you have it on mute and you're just like, I hope this is okay.
This part right here looks like it's irrelevant. I'm just going to cut it.
Yeah.
Hopefully no one will notice.
I wanna
No
do
one
that.
has. We've
Yeah.
made it a year just randomly cutting
Yeah.
and editing on mute.
You know what they say about monkeys and typewriters. So.
Yes. They fill the keys full of shit.
Yep.
On to Kickstarters.
First up on Kickstarters, there's only 2 we got this week because there's not a lot of great Kickstarters out there. We talked about all the good ones last week.
Yep.
I feel like it's a post-Origins lull.
And also, Zombicide's still making a bunch of money. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, stealing all of the money.
Something that caught my eye called Human Interface, Be a Better Human.
I hate the name. I'm just going to get that out of the way. I hate the name.
Yeah, it shouldn't have human in there twice.
No. Anyway, Jeff, you got some hot stats for
this one. Yep, it's well funded, 165,000 of a 61,000 goal. As you can tell by weird numbers, it is a British pound conversion. About 1,300 backers and a little under 2 weeks left to go. This one will get you a $92 pledge for the core game and the stretch goals, and then the 122 for the supplement, and 138 for the core game, pewter models, exclusive figure,
Jesus.
and supplement. Or you can get like 6 copies of the game. You know, the minis in this look real cool, mostly because I love cyberpunk, and then it's got kind of like a cyberpunk like body horror sort of thing.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Because there's like crazy like mutated cyber monsters that are guards. The hook in this version, I guess there was an original version, and then this one's going to have like an updated rule book and is different.
But you can still play with that original one too.
Yes. You're in a corporate prison that they're experimenting on people, and you have to try and get out with evidence of their improprieties, fighting crazy like railgun toting cyber monsters out of like, I don't know, System Shock is probably the closest thing that
Yeah,
I
I
have.
can see that.
Yeah. But all the models look really good. There's the Can, which is the crazy cyber monster, and a lot of other really good like cyberpunk hacker kind of dudes. Like there's a cyberpunk dude with a guitar
Yes.
that is also a machine gun because it has a magazine coming out of the bottom.
Well then.
Yeah. If you've ever seen Deus Ex, it's kind of reminds me of that a little bit, but much like already Deus Ex is pretty dark.
Yeah.
This is darker. It's a co-op game. And then you kind of have to, and then they're going to put in like a solo mode and a skirmish mode where you can build your teams and stuff like that.
The models look nice.
The player boards look real cool.
Yes, they do.
They're modular. You could give them different stats, kind of like little cutout areas to put like your different boosts and things like that. It looks good. I like Cyberpunk and Ghost in the Shell and stuff like that. And this looks,
I hope that I don't know who's actually like doing the models.
Yeah.
I just hope that they look well enough because I mean these just look like 3D models.
Yeah.
So when they actually come into the figures,
Yeah.
I hope that they
keep the detail.
Yeah, keep enough of the detail.
One problem that I kind of already have looking through this, like when you get to their really generic troops, like their TAC team officers, their black side agents, and their Velo Mechanic Shapu, they are all the same model. So it's like 8 copies of the exact same model. Whereas like that's something I appreciated back in like the Zombicide stuff is that you'd get like a mix of different models for walkers and fatties and runners so that like when you had a bunch of them on like one spot, there was some variation.
Well, I know in that one, technically, those are all stretch goals that they do different.
The base sets come with a mix too. They're not all
Okay.
they're not all identical in the base sets. Like the some of the stretch goals added even more like molds.
That's what it was. Yeah, yeah.
It also does one thing that I don't super like in some of these kind of mini games. I don't see it very often, but when I do it, it's a little distasteful. They have the pledge on day 1 and get this thing for free, and that's annoying.
The only one for me is the that I don't really like is when they do. Here's a stretch goal to be able to buy this. Like they have.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I do agree that the minis look pretty cool.
indeed.
Yeah.
Moving on.
That was human interface.
Yes, human interface.
Be a better human.
Be like everyone should.
Yeah.
Up next, Killbots, card game. This one is well past its goal, 7K of its 1K goal, 200 backers, and a little more than 3 weeks to go. This one's got a pledge level of about $25. The art is fantastic. It's very cartoony, robots killing each other. Tons of really cool art in this. It's almost like a deck builder. Like you drop to 5, and then you pay scrap costs off of a scrap deck. But all the cool things about the robots is they have like a positive and a negative. So like the brain bot, deal 1 damage, draw a card from the draw pile, and then you take 1 damage based on a custom 8-sided die. It's 2 to 6 players, about 30 minutes to play. There's upgrades you can do for all of the robots. There's instants you can play, other stuff like parts cards and things like that. And then you'll have persona, so you'll be like a person that you're trying to kill. So it's similar to Magic or Star Realms or things like that, where you'll have your own health pool.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, that worries me a little bit. That seems kind of like Munchkin, or there was another game that I played recently that had a name similar to something else. But it was the same thing. It was like Munchkin, but supposed to be better. And yes, it was better than Munchkin, but not by much.
Not Super Fight.
Legendary Showdown?
Legendary
Yes.
Showdown.
Yes, Legendary Showdown. And they still just kind of turn it into giant pile on the leader, like things that kind of drag out and aren't super fun, I don't think. Like, I think they get kind of old for me.
Yeah,
for
for
me. You know, I mean, some people love Munchkin. It sells tons of copies. I bought a lot of them.
Yeah. Yeah, we both did. I still have my 1 copy of The Good, the Bad, the Munchkin, because that was my favorite out of them. But also, just as a quick note, that this is a relaunch, because technically it was back in October, and it was unsuccessful for its funding.
Oh.
But that one was it got $2,000 and change over a $10,000 pledge. So it looks like he's been redoing the artwork and stuff like that. But he also had a much lower pledge value and it definitely worked this time.
Yeah.
So he got almost 3 times as much money, or he's almost 4 times as much money now.
Which, I mean, that's one of those things. Like, when somebody sees a project is like funded, they're like, "Oh, this is going to happen. Sure, I'll jump on." Whereas, like, if you see like, "Oh, it's at 2,000 of 10,000," "Oh, this is going to happen. I'm not going to bother."
Right.
You know, and if you get enough people doing that, then you don't pledge.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
or you don't, meet your goal. So, right on.
Oh, also, well, after we finish this one, are we done?
We're done.
That's it.
There's going to be a Munchkin Light, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
For 2 to 4 players, and it's supposed to only take 30 to 45 minutes or something like that.
Instead of an hour and a half.
Exactly. I just saw that and I was like, really?
Yeah, can Munchkin get much lighter?
Yes, it can. Very much so.
I guess we'll find out. Well, we won't, because I probably won't play it. Ever.
Never say ever.
Anyway. So that wraps
That's it.
up news and Kickstarter.
That's it for Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally, this is where we would go into a review. But we are changing things up, as we announced in our anniversary episode last week. We are splitting into 2 episodes a week. And so there won't be a review on this one.
Nope.
We're going to cover some emails
Yep.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we have an exciting announcement. So don't go anywhere. Just because there's no review, we're not done yet.
We'll never, ever be done.
Nope. We'll just be doing 2 2-hour episodes a week.
Correct.
Now, instead of 1.
Correct.
But before we go on to emails, which I assume is next,
Yes.
I have a correction from last week.
Okay.
Oh.
So what was the new quarterback for Broncos called?
Paxton Lynch?
Paxton Lynch. So it's my friend Josh at work, who is also my boss, not just my boss, because he immediately got mad at me when I came into work.
Oh, that's great.
He's like, "I'm your friend, also your boss." But so I wanted to correct that on air.
I would have hoped you're just like, it's only boss, fuck you.
I've been trying to let you down easy, and I
Yeah.
figured that was the best way to do it.
Yes. My friend Josh at work, who is also sometimes my boss / coworker.
He was the guy I met when I was buying the poker chips.
Yes.
And Wildlands, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He seemed nice.
He is nice. Hi, Josh.
Hello, Josh.
Also,
it was a
hi,
pleasure to meet you, Josh.
Yeah. Also, hi, Sarah. That's my friend. I helped put her sailboat up this weekend, and she wanted me to say hi.
Hello,
her
Sarah.
husband.
I don't know either of them.
Do they listen? Are they
Yes.
going to know that we said hi?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. She's like, you never call me on. I was like, I don't know. What do you want me to do? Hi, Sarah. There. Done.
Thank you for listening, Sarah. Zach and I appreciate it, even if Jeff doesn't.
She's the reason I'm in Colorado. So,
Ooh.
yeah.
So that basically gives her like partial responsibility for this podcast existing in its current form.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Sarah.
On to emails.
Emails.
Not as many emails as last week, but still a
Understandable.
lot of emails that I will read through. And if you would like to email us, it is emails@milehighgameguys.com.
Correct. And if for some reason you send us an email you don't want read, be sure to specify that, because otherwise we gon' read it.
First one comes from friend of the show, Andrew. Swear words in Latin, English, and
Quebecois.
Quebecois.
Quebecois. It's like French Canadian.
Yes.
It reads, I'm not entirely familiar with swearing in Latin. Funny, that wasn't covered in my Catholic high school. I mean,
I don't know why.
there's the famous first line, and there's a lot of words in this.
Do you want me to just take this
No,
one?
I really want to hear Jeff stumble his way through these.
Catiliulas?
Catalyst.
Catalyst? I don't know.
Yep.
Poem responding to some of his critics. Pedicabo, ego vos et urambo. I didn't know I'd be reading Latin. Which translates to, I will sodomize you and fuck face you.
Face fuck you.
Face fuck you. Fuck face. I will sodomize you and face fuck you. But that's not really swearing like you guys do, sprinkling shits and fucks throughout your conversation. But
He's
according-
got us painted into a box.
Yeah. But according to Wikipedia, here are a few more for you to enjoy. Mentula is cock. Cole, balls. Origin in Spanish, cojones.
Origin of the Spanish cojones.
Yeah, whatever. Merda, shit. Origin, French merde and Spanish mierda.
Caquer.
Caquer, to shit. Kunis.
Canis.
Kunis. I bet you can.
I bet you can figure it out.
Mila Kunis. I bet you can figure it out. What was that? 1,000 Ways to Die in the West or something?
Yes.
A million ways.
A million ways to die in the West.
I never saw it. I heard it was really dumb.
It wasn't great.
It wasn't great, but there were some good moments in there. And
Mila Kunis. Mila Kunis.
Yes.
He's talking to like Indians or something.
Oh.
There are plenty of other translations of the same words in English, fuck, ass, etc. There weren't really swear words in Latin, so it doesn't really count. That weren't really swear words in Latin, so it doesn't really count. Personally, I've always been a fan of things that used to be pretty bad swear words, but have been changed so much we don't recognize them, much less think they're bad. Gadzooks and zounds started as God's hooks, and God's wounds, as in the nails of the cross and the wounds Jesus got from them. Poppycock is a Dutch dialect for soft shit. Scum means froth or foam, so a scumbag is a used condom.
I did not know that one.
Oh, I did.
Also, the Quebecois,
There you go.
Quebecois, French, really love religious swear words, and those still have heft in their speech in a way that they don't in English anymore. They're called sacres,
Sacre?
sacre. They're called sacre and tabernacle.
Sure.
And,
I don't know on that one.
tabernacle is probably the worst. It is generally considered the equivalent of fuck. Lastly, there are over 1 million ants for every living human, and all of the insects in the world combined outweigh all other animals in the world combined. Let that sink in for a minute. Oh, sorry, that's entomology, isn't it? Yes, it is. Anyway, which one of these words do you think I used to describe you?
Scumbag.
I feel like this is an appropriate time to remind everyone that Andrew turns out was the hater all along.
Indeed.
So definitely scumbags. Speaking of swear words in other languages, so L-Doc Logan totally did swear. He basically said, fuck your mother in Spanish. Yes, quite rude.
Yes.
Which I thought I'd caught it in the thing, but I was like, nah, he's got his kid there. He wouldn't be swearing like right in front of his kid. Nope. Apparently, totally would. So that happened. He also had a funny story about trying to get his kid to swear, and the worst he could get him to say swear-wise was he was able to trick him into saying "suck my rail" in Spanish.
Nice.
There's a really good video of Trey Parker or Matt Stone getting. They've used multiple kids to do Ike's voice,
Yes.
and the way that they have to like they'll both like, all right, just repeat after me. It's like suck my dick, and then like they'll do it with the kid at the micro. He'll be like holding the kid up at the microphone, and then he's like, and they'll do it like 3 times, and then they're like, all right, one more time, and then the kid will just do it, and then that's how they get the lines for Ike from the show.
Nice.
I was
pretty funny.
I was talking to Megan about that whole thing, like trying to trick a kid into swearing, and she was telling a story about like a kid who wouldn't say like the word "as," like oh, it's hot as the sun out there. Like he wouldn't say "as" because he was like, no, that's a bad word. I can't say that. And like,
Nice.
so it's just funny. Like some kids, like they really get that. Like, I'm not. No, this will get me in trouble. You're not
Yeah.
tricking me. And then you make it to high school, and public schools ruin you forever.
Agreed.
Next email.
This next email comes from Anonymous.
It's not really anonymous. We know who it is, but
No one else will.
no one else will.
Titled "How I Found Your Podcast." I was searching for a good board game podcast, and there were a bunch of beer and board games types of pods. I like craft beer, but I'm more of a pothead than a drinker. I'm a software engineer, and I smoke a lot of weed while I code. It's kind of a creativity and focus thing, so I Googled something like High Board Game Podcast. Lo and behold, I found Mile High Game Guys. I realized that you were probably just Denver, but it is Denver after all. So I originally listened to see if it was a pot and board games. Obviously, it wasn't that, but you quickly became my favorite pod. There's still a lot of stigma around cannabis, so I understand if you don't want to read this on the pod, but we are. But to this day, when I tell people of the name of your podcast, they always say, of course you listen to the Mile High Game Guys. Great 50th show. Cheers. Anonymous.
Yeah. So that has to be one of my favorite stories I've heard about how somebody first found the show.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, yes, there is still some lingering stigma around the states about cannabis, but I mean, shit, we're at like 30 states have medical marijuana, and like we're rapidly approaching like I think 5 currently are legal, and several more have it on the ballots. I'm happy to live in a state that was ahead of the curve on that one.
Yes.
It's brought in a ton of money for the state, and fuck it. I mean, I drink beer damn near daily, and I think it's just as much of a drug as cannabis. Like, so I don't care what people do in the privacy of their own homes.
Indeed.
Just don't, be intoxicated and drive, regardless of what your intoxicant of choice is.
Indeed.
Public service announcement.
Hooray! PSAs.
Yep.
On to our last email. This one comes from Rob, that one guy we met from
Yes, we
California.
did.
Greetings, guys. I'm still Rob. Now that the dust has settled from my recent trip to Colorado and the celebration of one of your 1-year podcasting anniversary, congrats, I thought I'd follow up and share how the rest of my trip went. First off, thanks for taking the time to meet up with us and play a couple games. You guys were great fun to hang out with, was the perfect start to our Colorado vacation. And yes, we did end up at Epic Brewery for a couple beers after we parted ways, had some amazing wings and a buffalo chicken sandwich from one of the best food trucks we've ever experienced while there. I've probably had that food truck, and it is fantastic.
Yes.
Which one is it?
I have no idea, but I have probably had it because it's there all the time, and I have no idea what the name is.
Yeah.
I'm always up for really good wings. So.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was Fire on the Mountain.
They have a food truck?
Yes. They're at Little Machine fairly regularly, and that's one of my favorite times to go to Little Machine.
No.
I just like Fire on the Mountain.
Fire on the Mountain is fantastic.
Great beer as well. We ended up buying some to take with us for the rest of the week and enjoyed their brand many times on tap from the various Breckenridge bars we visited throughout the week. Those huge barrels you said Ant helped build were the perfect backdrop for a brewery. Very nice recommendation, Phyllis. As for the main event, the Rocky Mountain Gaming Vacation, it was great. We met some great people, played some games, visited at least 5 different local bars for happy hour, where we tried the local beers we were interested in. We also visited the Broken Compass Brewery one of the afternoons. I think you've been there, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Broken Compass is one of Ann's favorites. He's actually he's got his little, jockey box, which is basically, for those of you who don't know, it's like a basic chest cooler that has a couple lines of copper tubing ran through it and 2 taps, and then a CO2 hookup on the back, so you can hook 2 kegs up and then put a bunch of ice in the cooler, And then as the beer flows through those copper tubes through that ice, it cools it down enough to like be cold drinking temperature right then and there out of the tap. He's talking about giving that to Broken Compass so that they always have a keg for him on his own jockey box, so that anytime he goes in there, he's just like, yeah, I'll take whatever's on my tap. He's really good. He's really good friends with them. Every time, like when we were up at the condo, like we would regularly head over to Broken Compass and then just drink all afternoon.
Sounds wonderful.
Yes.
That brewery came highly recommended by multiple local bartenders.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And lived up to the hype. It lived up to the hype. Very enjoyable beer. Got in first plays of Terraforming Mars.
Hooray.
Yep.
Second mention.
Evolution Climate, Mainframe, When I Dream, March of the Ants, Isle of Skye, and Clank, as well as scattering of games we had played before. We taught the Grizzled, which we had just learned from you guys the previous weekend. We visited our first escape room and failed.
I still have to do any of those.
I like how he had like a big exclamation point. We visited our first escape room and failed.
Yeah.
But it was still enjoyable. We went on a 20-mile bike ride, ziplining, whitewater rafting, one of the highlights, and bowling in a private 2-lane alley. The rooms we stayed in were extremely nice and were stocked with some snacks and drinks. Daily gaming was happening in the big dedicated conference room from 10 a.m. till 1 a.m. most days. It was casual, and you could just grab a game and play it. Staff was helpful and could teach even the heaviest of games, and everything was extremely well organized. Can't say enough of how great the staff of Icarus Tours was. We did have one near scare when we were told that we were not able to bring our beer into the game hall. Talk about a trip destroyer. Definitely. Luckily, all was straightened out, and it turned out we had to discard of all the evidence like we were teenagers sneaking it.
We are very well acquainted with that, considering we have to do that for Gencon and Geekway.
Yes.
Pretty much every major convention center is like, buy our shitty beer. And we're like,
no.
But we could bring in a lot of really good beer for free.
Yep. But it was just some manager pissed that we weren't buying their shitty beer for $5 a pop, so crisis avoided fairly easily. I did throw your name around to the staff, so hopefully they will consider checking you guys out. The next couple years, rumor has it, are taking place in Park City, Utah, and then at Lake Tahoe. So that should give you guys a couple years to take the podcast world by storm before the event is returning to Colorado. By then, you will be almost amongst the top. No fucking doubt there. Just keep being yourselves. In the end, the trip was a huge success. My girlfriend loved the experience. We are already talking about our next gaming trip, so thanks again for helping me kick it off right. Mission accomplished. Cheers, Rob.
Boom. Fantastic. I'm really glad to hear that everything went well for you, Rob. You know, it was one of those things like, so we met Rob and Amanda, and like, then like the next day we were talking, and like we've met a handful of fans now. And one of the things that really makes me happy is like all of our fans that we've met so far are like really awesome, like down to earth people. Like we don't have any, like I have yet to meet like the weird fan where it's like, yeah, thanks for being a fan. I'm going to go away now. It's always like, hell yeah. Like all of our fans seem to be a lot like us, like cool people to hang out with, drink a beer with, play games with. I dig it.
Let's just alienate all the weird fans right now.
Yeah, thanks, Adrian.
As far as I'm concerned, we don't have any weird fans.
None of you are weird, see?
Exactly.
Yep.
You're all awesome. I would love to have a beer with any and all of you.
Yep.
And play games and swear at you, because I will.
Unless you don't want to be sworn at.
Unless we play a cooperative game, and even then I might swear at you if you do something fucking stupid. But it'll be in a friendly way.
You'll know how we feel.
Yeah.
I save my true vitriol for my friends.
True.
Yes.
Yeah, if Adrian's nice to you, he hates you. So
This is true.
Clearly. Yep.
So I'm nice to like everyone.
So it's weird that you're saying that all our friends are our fans are awesome. He's really saying fuck you all. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I don't know if I think that's
Shit, this all backfired.
Yeah.
As for doing the Icarus Tours, gaming convention, I guess they'll have to change the name each year. Maybe that's why we haven't heard of it, because it can only be the Rocky Mountain Gaming Convention when they're in the Rocky Mountains. So if they're going to Park City and then Tahoe, those are neither one in the Rockies. But I really want to go to both Park City and Tahoe. So I'm still going to look into this, because this sounds fantastic.
Indeed.
And I will easily be able to sell Megan on a board gaming convention where we can do zip lining and whitewater rafting.
Sounds interesting.
For sure.
Yeah. Just have to sneak all the beer in, however.
I'm used to it.
Yeah.
I sneak beer everywhere.
Yeah. We have on multiple occasions.
Yes.
Multiple convention centers. No problem. That's it for emails.
That is indeed it for emails.
If you would like to email us, emails at milehighgameguys.com.
Indeed. Well, I think that brings us to 2 announcements that we have to close out the show here. Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I was waiting for Zach to...
I just wanted a dramatic pause.
Dramatic pause. Yes.
So first up, we mentioned this last episode. Our Patreon is now officially launched. We kind of locked down some reward tiers that we thought were pretty awesome. And we have that all set up and ready to go. So if you are interested in potentially supporting the show financially and helping us to be even bigger and even better, then you can jump over to patreon.com/milehighgameguys and check out the tiers that we have available and see if any of them interest you.
Yeah. We've got
your interests.
We've got all of the standard tiers. $1, of course.
Yes.
$5.
Ooh, that's like 5 times as much.
$10.
It's 2 times as much as the 5.
And $25.
That's
That is-
2.5 times
yes, it
as
is.
much as the 10.
It's 25 times as much as the 1.
It is.
Yeah.
There is math involved in how those numbers escalate.
Yeah. These are all just monthly, so it's not per episode or per content release or anything like that.
Especially because now we're going to be dropping like 8 episodes.
Yeah.
At minimum.
At minimum.
So even if you pay $1, it's like 12.5 cents an episode or something like that, not counting any extra stuff we do, like extra interviews and all that fun stuff.
Yep.
Every dollar matters.
Correct.
Yeah.
And you'll get stuff like we're going to start doing some special blooper MP3s of like some of the things we cut. Like obviously we like to ramble when we do this show. And so sometimes things get cut, either some of our rambling nonsense that gets really far afield or sometimes, a Kickstarter or a news thing that we just during editing, we're like, this took up a bit of time and, we're trying to get it under 2 hours, whatever. And so we cut that out. Well,
It's where all the heavy games live.
Yeah.
yes. So we're going to throw some of those things together into some special MP3s that Patreons will get. Jeff has mentioned before he sits here and chicken scratches away on a piece of paper.
Good luck, everyone.
Awesome show notes that are really just more funny than anything. Like I'll be trying to edit and looking through the show notes. And I'll be like, what is chicken fucker cut? I don't remember what chicken fucker cut is. And I'll get to that part and I'll be like, oh yeah. And so... so there's some things like that. There's a couple other tiers and rewards and things for helping us out. And so, jump over there. Like I said, patreon.com/milehighgameguys and maybe lend us a hand.
Yeah. You could vote on games that we review or something.
Yes.
Correct? And then the next announcement. So
It's just a small little thing that we
just a
gotta say.
tiny little thing. It's really
Tiny,
kind
small.
of inconsequential. We were going to announce it last week, but one, it was a ridiculously long episode as it was. And 2, there were some logistics that needed sorted out. But we are happy to announce that for our 1-year anniversary, we are doing another giveaway.
One of our famous giveaways.
Yes.
The most
World
famous of giveaways.
These are the giveaways that people like Alan win and then are like, maybe I should listen to the show.
Yes.
And that's how we get fans.
Yeah.
So
It's by guilt. It's great.
yeah. Although I think he started listening before he won. I think
did.
he was
He
like,
did.
I'm gonna start listening because I'm entering. I should
Exactly.
probably listen to a
Yeah,
couple.
the guilt. He was like, I don't want to just enter without listening.
Right.
So.
Feel free to be as guilty as he was.
Yes.
And so that's how we get listeners. We guilt people into listening to the show.
Yeah.
And get maybe free stuff.
Yes. So anyway, this tiny insignificant thing that required logistics and planning is the 20-pound monstrosity that is Gloomhaven.
Bong.
Was that a deception noise? Yes. Okay. All right.
No overproduction here. All of our sound effects are natural from our mouths.
Yes. Yep.
Except the music.
Except the music. Ruining the
Illusion
magic.
broke.
Yeah. Be real talented.
But no, we happened to luck into an extra copy of Gloomhaven, and rather than sell it on the secondary market and get cash money, I figured, hey, it'd be a great
Jeff and I
opportunity.
convinced Adrian.
Yeah,
To not just keep it on his shelf as we play my copy.
correct. So, yeah, we're going to give it away to you, our awesome listeners, / you who are not yet listeners, but hopefully start listening after you enter a Gloomhaven giveaway.
Yep.
To enter, we are going to do this across our 3 main services. Zach is going to put up a BGG post titled Gloomhaven giveaway or something like that.
Yep.
Perhaps more creative.
In the guild.
In the guild number 2731. And so go over there and subscribe to the guild, join the guild, and I will check to make sure that people who are commenting are subscribed to the guild. That is going to be a part of this. So join the guild. And
That's Board Game Geek Guild what again?
guild number 2731.
Gotcha.
You can also just search Mile High Game Guys on BoardGameGeek, and it should pop right up. But we'll have a thread up there with some more instructions on how you actually enter in that thread. It's basically going to be like, hey, tell us something, a game you want reviewed, or
How you found us.
maybe how you found us. It'd be interesting to hear how people found the show. I think that's a good one. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Boom. Decisions live on air.
Because you can actually type, like, doing that on Twitter would be a little harder.
Yes. So for the BGG one, it will be, how did you find the show initially? Where did you hear about us? What made you start listening? And yeah, so that's the BGG one. You can send us an email at
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
and title this one Gloomhaven Giveaway. And then just tell us something awesome. Give us an awesome email. Something that is interesting and has more than just, hey, I want to win Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
Needs to be cool. Needs to be
yeah.
This is going to be entirely subjective, so if you don't entertain us, I'm not going to count it. So make it count.
Or we'll count
Still just count it
Yeah.
anyway because we have no shame.
Yeah.
But I want to be able to read the winning email if it's an email that wins.
Yeah.
So
or I'll
make
just
it
read
count.
off all of the email entries anyways.
That could also happen
Depending on how many we get.
Well, then we might split it up between multiple episodes because it's probably going to be a multi-week giveaway
Yes.
for entries.
Yes.
So.
And for the last way that you can enter the contest is jump over to our Twitter at MHGameGuys. We've been having some internal debate here about who on the show is our fans' favorite person.
We're going to have a popularity contest on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yes. This can in no way backfire.
No.
And we'll do nothing. No bad will come of this.
It's going to be a tie between all three of us, so we won't have to worry.
Yeah, every person will just put all of our names in.
We're going to get two. Either that or we'll each get like 200 that say each one of us. Like, so there will be 600 total. And then like another 100 that just say like, oh, all three of you just mesh so perfectly.
I can't possibly choose.
Yes. That's exactly
I
how
really
this is
hope
gonna
like
turn
your
out.
mom's on Twitter and she's like, Jeff.
Yeah.
My mom is on Twitter, and I would not be surprised if she picked Jeff. The only thing that benefits me there is I don't think she's met either. She's met you.
Yes.
Zach. So she might pick you because she's actually met you.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I did.
so the way you're going to enter this one is, so tweet us at MHGameGuys and tell us in roughly 100 or so characters, a little over 100 characters, how or who on the show is your favorite, and if you can fit it in, maybe why. And then make sure you include the hashtag, and this is important because this is how we will find all of these entries. Hashtag MHGloom. GLOOM. MHGLOOM. Yeah, you can enter through all three of the means, so there will be a max of 3 entries per person, unless you really want to be super weird and use aliases on email, and we can't track that. And in
Good
which
luck.
case, yeah, go through that effort. But yeah, 3 ways to enter.
I made sure that MH Gloom wasn't already a thing.
Perfect. Perfect. That is forethought right there.
Yeah.
Checking as we make the announcement.
Yeah.
So really important at this point in this giveaway, now that your hype is like through the roof and you're like, dude, I live in Antarctica and I can't wait to win Gloomhaven. We will help cover shipping up to $30 because that is what we can currently afford with our budget. We're going to let this run a few weeks. So if the Patreon explodes and our budget increases, we might consider upping the amount we will cover for shipping. But right now, we will cover $30 worth of shipping.
Which should be like for
Most of the
US.
48 states.
That should cover most of the U.S., the continental U.S., and that should cover a good chunk of
Canada?
Alaska, Hawaii, Canada, and Mexico.
Yeah.
If you are in Europe, it might get pricey. It still might be cheaper than Gloomhaven, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like $200 plus US dollars to purchase a copy at all right now.
So yes. But we will throw in currently $30 if the Patreon blows up, maybe more. But that's what we can afford right now. So those were the logistics that needed to be figured out. How much of this giant box can we afford to ship?
This $20 box.
So yes, we will work with you however we can to get you a copy. But yes, so go enter and hopefully win Gloomhaven.
Someone will.
Super awesome hotness.
Yeah.
So you have until noon Mountain Time on Monday, July 10th to get your entries in. Noon Mountain Time is, I believe, 4 a.m. UTC, which is like the, generic universal time. So, yeah, get your entries in. You got 3 weeks. You got plenty of time to do it. Mm-hmm. We will remind you in the next, 5 episodes that will be released between this episode and then.
Yep.
And, yeah, do that. We want to send you, yes, you, person right now who's listening, you're going, who, me? Yes, you. We want to send you Gloomhaven. So enter.
I want to send it to the guy next to you. That's what I want to do.
Yep.
What if he's not a listener?
I want to send it to him, so he better be a listener.
So make sure that guy next to you, make sure he's a listener and he enters as well.
Yes, exactly.
So that Zach can have a chance of sending it to who he wants. Jeff, who do you want to send it to?
Portugal.
Well, there you go. So Vital Lacerda, I'm sure he listens.
Yes.
And I'm sure he really wants a copy of Gloomhaven.
And
because
wasn't able to get it.
he has no other way to access that game. So Vital, please enter. So that wraps up episode 51, I believe. I think that's pretty much everything. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah, nothing on Twitter, right?
No. So yeah, there we go. First episode of the new year / season of the Mile High Game Guys. For those of you who are worried we were going to change too much, hopefully we proved you wrong by continuing to ramble inanely over and over and over again, as we do. If you want to get a hold of us outside of the contests, you can always tweet us at MHGameGuys to get a hold of me.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I'm Jeff_MHGG.
We have the aforementioned BGG Guild 2731. We are on Facebook, Instagram at Mile High Game Guys. And you can always email us
At emails@milehighgameguys.com.
Boom. That's how you get a hold of us. And we love hearing from our fans. We talk about it on the show all the time.
Constant. 24/7.
I'm done. We're out. As always, I've been Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I can't come up with 2 names a week, Jeff.
Bye.
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 Hey, so we're back. Because as prepared as we always are, we totally forgot to mention that you should tune in this Friday for our review of
Tiny Epic Galaxies and
Tiny Epic Galaxies: Beyond the Black.
which will be our review episode for this week. Coming out, like I said, Friday morning. Friday. Doesn't work as well.
No.
As Sunday.
Needs more monster truck.
Vroom, vroom. Bye.
God.
Punchboard Media, where we all
Bring something
to the table.
pull up a chair
At punchboardmedia.com.